Now guys, you know what time it is. It's time to head on over to Quack Me Up Corner.
Quack, 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 quack me up. Quack, 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 quack me up. Get your ducks in order. It's time for Quack Me Up Corner.
I wanted to do like a barbershop quartet intro, and I hope to God I actually took the time to go on Fiverr and find somebody to do it, because it's such a stupid fucking idea, but I love it. I hope that played before this bit. I really hope it did. Oh, what a fucking wonderful waste of money. But anyway, it's time to quack you up with a joke I've heard over the years that isn't mine, but certainly made me giggle. So guys, I was up in Tesco the other day with the missus, and she turned around and called me a lazy bastard. Well, I nearly fell out of the trolley. Why did the condom fly across the room? Because he was pissed off. How come women don't need driver's licenses? Because there's no road between the bedroom and the kitchen. Outrageous, Ducky! You're sexist bastard, Joe! Yes, it is sexist. It's shocking, you see. That's why it's funny. It's shock humour. Hope you enjoyed that. An old man walks into a doctor's office and he says to the doctor, "Look, I'm having a bit of trouble performing in bed." So the doctor was like, "No problem." Hands him a little empty vial and he goes, "I want you to take this home and bring me in a semen sample for tomorrow." So the old man was like, "Okay, no problem." So very next morning comes back into the doctor and the vial is empty. The doctor was like, "The vial's empty, what happened?" And the old man was like, "Okay, so I got home last night and, decided to get you that sample. So I tried it with my left hand, was having no luck at all. I tried it with my right hand, still having no luck at all. So I asked the wife if she could give me a bit of a hand, to which she did. She tried it with her left hand. She tried it with her right hand. She even tried it with her mouth, with her teeth in and her teeth out. Still no luck. So we called over Eileen, who's her next door neighbour. She did everything in her power as well. She tried it with her mouth. She tried it with her armpit. She tried it with her knees, for God's sakes. But for the life of us, none of us could get the lid off the jar. Yeah, a bit more of a long-winded one. I hope you enjoyed that. Bit of an older one as well. I remember hearing that years ago. A man walks into a bar with an ostrich and a cat. They approach the barman and the man says, "Could I get a pint of lager, please?" The ostrich says, "Can I have a vodka and coke, please?" And the cat says, "I'll have a scotch on the rocks, but I'm not fucking paying for it." So the barman hands them their drinks. The man reaches into his pocket, pulls out a €50 note, hands it to the barman and says, "Keep the change." So the barman, quite happy with his large tip, says thanks very much. The three finish their drinks and leave. The next day, the man, the ostrich and the cat enter the bar again. They all approach the barman yet again and the man says, "Can I have a pint of lager, please?" The ostrich says, "Can I please get a vodka and coke?" And the cat says, "I'll have a scotch on the rocks, but I'm not fucking paying for it." So the barman yet again gives them their drinks. The man again reaches into his pocket, pulls out a €50 note, hands it to the barman and says, "Keep the change." Three finish their drink and leave the bar yet again. The very next day, the man, the ostrich and the cat enter the bar once again. They approach the bar and the man asks for a lager. The ostrich says, "Can I have a vodka and coke, please?" And the cat says, "I'll have a scotch on the rocks, but I'm not fucking paying for it." So the barman yet again gives them their drinks. The man again reaches into his pocket, pulls out yet another 50, hands it to the barman and says, "Keep the change." Now, rather curious about the whole situation, the barman decides to ask the man, "Sorry, if you don't mind, could you explain why you keep telling me to keep the change of a €50 note? It's a very generous tip." And the man was like, "Oh yeah, that's no problem, I'll explain that to you. A couple of weeks ago I found this lamp, and when I rubbed this lamp, out popped the genie and he granted me 3 wishes. So for my first wish, I wanted it that every time I reached into my pocket, there was a €50 note there." And the barman's like, "Oh, that explains they keep the change, yeah, of course, because you're practically minted." But the barman, still curious, leans in and asks, "But what's with the ostrich and the cat?" And the man says, "Oh, that was my second and third wish. I asked for a nice bird with long legs and a tight pussy." There's a man in his car and he's absolutely booking it down the road, flat out in his car, as you do. Next thing, a policeman jumps out of the bushes with one of them speed guns, points at the car, clocks him doing whatever amount of speed he was doing, something bonkers anyway, jumps into his squad car and pulls him over. The cop approaches the window of the car and says to the man, "Do you have any idea what speed you were doing?" And the man was like, "I'm afraid not, no, I'm sure I was speeding though, yeah, that's fair enough." So the cop goes, "Okay, is this your vehicle?" And the man replies, No, actually this car's stolen. I've just stolen it." And the cop looks at him very strangely, like, "Huh. And is there anything in the car that shouldn't be in the car?" And the driver turns to him and says, "Yeah, I've a dead body in the boot and the car in the trunk." And the cop was like, "Oh fuck, So the cop tells the man to wait right there, and he goes back to his squad car and radios in backup. We have a murderer here. We'll need backup. So next thing I knew, within 5 minutes, we got cars swarming all over him, squad cars everywhere surrounding him. And they pull him out of the car and they bring him back. So he's sitting in the back of the squad car. After a few minutes of searching around the car and stuff like that, the constable comes back to the man in the back of the car and he's like, listen, we have an issue here. And the man's like, okay, what's the issue? Well, basically, this cop here has radioed us in, and he told us that this car was stolen, but we're after finding the vehicle's registration in your car and it's in your name. And he's also told us that you had a dead body in the boot, but when we opened the boot of the car, there was nothing in there. And the man replies, I bet he told you I was speeding as well. A woman goes into a doctor and complains that her husband is starting to lose interest in sex. So the doctor gives her a pill and tells her to slip it into her husband's food when she gets home, but warns her that this pill is experimental. So that night, she does just that. About a week later, she heads back to the doctor and says, Doctor, that pill worked great. I put it into my husband's food like you said, and 5 minutes later, he jumped up, raked all the food and the dishes onto the floor, grabbed me, ripped off all my clothes, and ravaged me right there on the table. The doctor says, Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise the pill was that strong. I'll happily pay for any damages that occurred. No, it's alright, she says. We're never going back to that restaurant anyway. A priest buys a lawnmower at a garage sale, pulls the rope a few times and it doesn't work. He goes back to the garage sale to talk to the previous owner. The priest says, I can't get the lawnmower to start. You have to curse at it to get it to start, says the man. I'm a man of the oath, says the priest. I don't even remember how to curse. And the man says, just keep pulling the rope. It'll come back to you. What do you get when you cross the Queen with Prince Charles? Murdered in a Paris tunnel. This one I've heard before, but I'll give it a read anyway. I'm sure some of you will enjoy it. How do you circumcise a traveller? You kick his sister in the chin. So one more here. My grandfather told me that my generation relies too much on technology, so I called him a hypocrite and unplugged his life support machine. Oh, that's good. Dark humour. I enjoy that. Why does Michael Jackson never win a race? He likes to come in a little behind. What's an orphan's favourite toy? A boomerang. Unlike its parents, it comes home. What do you call a group of gay disabled people? Fruit and vegetables. Jesus. Oh, that's filth. So a couple of guys are texting each other, putting together pickup lines to use on their online dating ventures. One goes, hey, how about, I may be 28, but I still have the body of a 17-year-old. The other responds, you got any proof? And the first man replies, yeah, but I can't be arsed walking to the freezer at the moment. A penguin takes his car into the shop, and the mechanic says, I'll look at it, but it'll take about an hour for me to check it. So while he waits, the penguin goes to an ice cream shop and orders a big sundae to pass the time. But the penguin isn't the cleanest eater in the world and ends up covered top to toe in melted ice cream. When he returns back to the shop, the mechanic takes a look over at the car, looks back at him and says, looks like you blew a seal. No, says the penguin, it's just ice cream. A man and a woman started to have sex in the middle of a dark forest. After about 15 minutes, the man finally gets up and says, damn, I wish I had a flashlight. The woman says, me too, because you've been eating grass for the last 10 minutes. What's the difference between a genealogist and a gynecologist? A genealogist looks up your family tree, while a gynecologist looks up your family bush. Ride the boys of a Tuesday, ride the arse off the lads of a Tuesday, riding the boys of a Tuesday, ride the arse off the lads of a Tuesday, riding the boys. 'Cause I'm riding the bike. Three pregnant women visit a hospital to check the gender of their babies. So while chatting in the waiting room, one lady said she's sure hers is a boy because she was on the bottom during sex. The second one went ahead and said that she's sure that hers is a girl because she was on top while they were having sex. And the third one, who was a blonde, remarks, I can't wait to see my puppies, boy oh boy. An elderly couple was sitting in a church and the lady turns towards her husband and says, I just left out a really long silent fart. What should I do? And the man smiled and said to her, love, you need to change the battery on your hearing aid. That's good, I enjoyed that one. A Catholic girl goes into a confession box and says to the priest, I'm pregnant. He asks, how did this happen, my child? She says, I think it must be the second coming. And the priest, shocked by her reply, asks, what makes you think it's the second coming? And she replies, because I think I swallowed the first. Oh, that is good. I don't have a second one lined up, but I do know a second one off the top of my head that I learned years ago, and it's like, how is sex like math? Well, you add a bed, subtract her clothes, divide her legs, enter your square root and hope she doesn't multiply. What's the difference between your boyfriend and a condom? Condoms have evolved. They're not so thick and insensitive anymore. Oh yeah, I'm a fucker for that. I'm always getting accused of not being sensitive. But look, you read my fucking packet. You read the ingredients before you bought me. It's on you. That was your mistake. You purchased me. What's the difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer? The taste. A family walks into a hotel and the father goes to the front desk and says, I hope the porn is disabled. And the guy at the desk replies, it's just regular porn, you sick fuck. And what's the difference between anal sex and oral sex? Oral sex makes your day. Anal makes your whole week. Right, for a nice change and a shout out to my lovely Irish audience, I've decided to do a couple of nice Irish jokes. Not exclusively Irish. If you're not from Ireland, you'll understand them. But, for an Irish setting, if you will. So I hope you enjoy them. Right, an Irish priest is driving along a country road when a guard pulls him over. The guard immediately smells alcohol on the priest's breath and notices an empty bottle of wine in the car next to him. The guard asks, have you been drinking? Just water, says the priest. Guard replies, then why do I smell wine? And the priest looks at the bottle and says, good Lord, he's done it again. That one tickles me. I like that one. Alcoholic priests. And for joke number 2. A fella walks into a bar all panicky and orders 7 shots of whiskey and a pint of cider. Barman pours him out all 7 shots on the bar and goes to get him his pint. But when the barman comes back, all the shots of whiskey have been drunk. The barman says, Jesus, you drank those real quick. Well, says the fella, if you have what I have, you drink them quickly too. Oh, fuck, said the barman. What do you have? A fiver, replied the fella. I feel like giving some communal laughters in this one today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some fucking dad jokes. Some good salt of the earth, groaning, I'm sorry I laughed at that dad jokes for you lot, because as I said earlier, I just like to annoy people. And, I think dad jokes are just the best kind of joke because it's just like, it spurs a different emotion than just laughter out of you. And I think that's great. So prepare yourselves for some terrible dad jokes. Why are elevator jokes so good? Because they work on many levels. No? Didn't do it for you? Okay, how about this one? What do you call a fish with no eye? A fish. Oh, that one got a chuckle out of me. Okay, we'll try a couple more and I'll stop tormenting you then. My girlfriend says she's leaving me because of my obsession with safety. I told her to not let the door hit her on the way out. Why can't you ever run through a campsite? You can only ran through a campsite because it's always past tense. What are the strongest days of the week? Saturday and Sunday. All the other ones are weak days. So bad. I love it. Right. What did the baby corn say to the mama corn? Where's popcorn? That was especially bad, wasn't it? That was awful. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit fucking dirty in myself for saying that. Oh, God. Right. Third terrible joke. I used to work in a shoe recycling shop, and I can tell you, it was soul destroying. That's so bad. So a fella shows up to a fancy dress party, butt-ass naked with a woman up on his back. And the host says, hey, where do you think you're going? This is supposed to be a fancy dress party. And my man says, I am in fancy dress. I'm a turtle. And the host was like, a turtle? Then who's that on your back? He goes, that's Michelle. There's a married couple who's having trouble in the bedroom. The wife can't get an orgasm because she's too hot. So they go to a therapist, and the therapist tells them that they should have a nice constant supply of cold air wafting through the room, and that might help. So the man asks his best friend if he could waft the towel in the bedroom to help him and his wife make a bit of love together, and begrudgingly the friend agrees. So after about 28 minutes of fucking, Miwan is no closer to an orgasm. So the friend wafting the towel recommends that they swap places. So the friend is now having sex with the woman, while the husband is wafting the towel. After only about 2 minutes, the woman starts to tremble, lets out an incredible cry, and reaches the most intense orgasm she ever experienced. And the husband looks at the friend and says, that, my friend, is how you waft a fucking towel. Oh, obviously this is my second time reading this, but it's a really good one. I really enjoyed that when I read it. Right, I'll give you another one, lads. Here we go. A man walks into a bar, and upon sitting down, this gorgeous, busty, blonde-looking waitress comes over to him and hands him a drink. And she asks him would he like some food. So he says, yeah, go on, and starts reading the menu for the food. It says, a toasted sandwich, €4. Quarter pounder, €6. And a wank, €10. So he looks at the waitress and says, tell me, are you the one that gives the wank? And she winks and says, I am indeed. Well then, he says, go wash your hands, I'll have a quarter pounder. I love just the ridiculous fucking concepts and jokes sometimes, like, it's fucking brilliant. And I'll give you a nice pun to finish things out, because I like a bit of a pun, a bit of a filthy fucking I couldn't have like a completely perfect what's the quack, you know. I need to get a filthy little pun in there so you go away feeling dirty. So here you go. Why should you wear glasses to maths class? Because it helps with division. That's so shit. Oh, I adore it. Hey, ho, there she goes. And when her skirt's real high and her standards are low, I drop my pants and I'm ready to go because I know she'll house my Mickey.